Hugh, thanks a lot. Billions of dollars is being spent on flowers today, Valentine's Day. But what's the carbon cost? Most of the fresh flowers sold in Europe and the United States are imported from warmer parts of the world, like Africa and Latin America. That means refrigerated planes and trucks, huge emitters of carbon dioxide. But flowers grown closer to home rely on energy-intensive greenhouses. So how can we give flowers sustainably? Well, I'm joined now by a florist who not only has created amazing arrangements for Elton John, the Beckhams and several royal weddings, he's also filmed a documentary about where our flowers come from. Simon Lycett, you're obviously the best guest to have on this. Welcome to the programme. And tell us a little bit about your biggest concern about where we're getting our flowers from.
I think we're so keen on our food miles, but I think less and less people are aware of just how far flowers have potentially travelled to be in their supermarkets and in their vases.
And yet you might then assume, well, getting flowers from Kenya is the wrong thing to do, but you've actually seen how this works.
I have. I was fortunate enough to go out and look at the whole of the Lake Naivasha area where roses are being grown. And because their climate is so fantastic for things like roses and carnations, they grow literally like weeds. And so the actual carbon footprint of producing those flowers is relatively minimal apart from the transport. So you then have to counter that with the growing of flowers in greenhouses heated all across Europe, and which is actually a better carbon footprint. And the most recent research, which we really only have from about 2007, 2008, is telling us that it is still a better carbon footprint to be using the flowers that will have been grown. So if we need to buy a rose for Valentine's Day, have one that's been produced and flown in from Kenya, where in addition to being a beautiful, fragrant garden rose, it will have given employment to communities and countries that might otherwise not have any.
What did you see about working conditions in Kenya?
Well, I think more and more people are aware, because you're buying something as beautiful as a flower, you do have a little bit more thought and consideration as to its ethical origins, perhaps. So I was really impressed with the fact that a lot of the farms are now fair trade certificated. A lot of them have incredible community projects going on. So one of them, because there's lots of containers of flowers going into Holland via the flights each evening, there's lots of empty containers coming back. So they were actually buying all the lost property bicycles, because everybody in Holland has a bicycle, shipping those back to Kenya, and the workers' children who used to have to walk for 6 miles to school can now whiz there on their bikes.
I love that story, Simon. What if it's not roses you're looking for? Or give us some tips for the buyers of flowers. What else could they look for?
I would always say to anybody, regardless of Valentine, Easter, any occasion, try and buy seasonally and locally. And the best person to advise you is your local florist. So although supermarket offerings are great, I would always say go and find your local florist, your local flower market, go and find the local farmers markets where the wonderful regional local growers will be able to tell you what they've got coming up in their greenhouses and their fields at the moment.
And just in the last few seconds, Simon, they don't have to be wrapped up in plastic.
Don't bother with any of that wrapping. Just go for a few more flowers, a bit of brown paper and twine. That all goes on the compost heap and you have a beautiful bunch.
Simon, thank you so much for speaking to us. I can see you have orange blooms in the background, which go perfectly with the Impact set. How very thoughtful. Thank you very much for your time and for those thought-provoking ideas about Valentine's Day and where you get your blooms from. We've got a lot more to come here on Impact. You can talk to me on Twitter about any of our stories at Philippa BBC.